Welcome back everyone to another episode of Vegetarian Cooking with JJ. In this week's episode, we're going to be making a couple of vegan dips that will be perfect for entertaining, even though entertaining hasn't gone back to quite the same as it used to be pre-COVID. Not only are these dips easy and delicious, but you can use them for other things as well, such as pasta sauces. So let's head over to the kitchen and get cooking. This is our delicious roasted red pepper dip we're going to be making today. And our creamy vegan dill dip. First, we're going to preheat our oven to 425. And we're going to chop off the tips of our garlic and remove the loose outer peel. Now we're going to pour on some olive oil, about 2 tablespoons worth. Add some salt and some pepper and scrunch up our foil here. And we'll pop it in the oven for about 45 minutes to roast. We're going to set our stovetop to medium and get a pot of water to a boil. And we'll just pour in our 2 cups of cashews. They will be split between the 2 dips. We're going to cut our red bell peppers in half and take out the seeds and membrane. We're now going to brush olive oil all around the peppers. Make sure they're fully coated. And we're going to add some salt. And we'll add a good grinding of pepper. We'll flip them over and we'll toss them in the oven to roast. Now I'm cutting a lemon in half and I'm going to juice the entire lemon. Now I'm just going to slice up half of our Spanish onion. Now we're just going to pour our boiling water over our cashews and we'll set them aside for 2 hours. Cashews originated in Brazil, and between 1560 and 1565 they came along with the Portuguese sailors into India. Caju is the Portuguese name for nut. However, cashews are not actually nuts, but rather drupes because of their configuration. A drupe has an outer skin, a fleshy interior, and within that there is usually a stone or a shell, and within that there is a seed. However, in the culinary world, it's completely excusable to call cashews nuts because of their nut-like quality. With cashews, a cashew apple actually grows out of the tree and is known as a false fruit because beneath it, dangling below, is the actual fruit, the cashew. The cashew seed is enclosed with a leathery grayish-greenish shell, and it is not advisable to break it open with your bare hands. There is a protective substance inside which acts much like poison ivy would in the case of skin contact. Cashews must be processed in a very specific way before consumption. There's a lot of work involved in this processing, and that is one of the reasons why cashews come with a higher price tag. So you may be wondering, why is it this little cashew the star of the show and not the cashew apple? The cashew apple sounds rather appetizing. Well, it gets a little bit complicated with the shipping to maintain its ideal state for consumption. And plus, the taste is a little unusual for Westerners. It has a combination of astringency on the exterior, a little bit of vegetable taste, slightly sweet and sour, It's also creamy and nutty flavor. It may be a little bit of an acquired taste for Westerners, but depending on your background and what you're used to consuming, that may not be the case. Now I'm heating the stovetop to medium and getting our pan nice and hot. Pour some oil on our pan. And we'll toss our onions on top. We're going to want to get them nice and caramelized. Now our roasted garlic is ready to come out of the oven. I'm going to keep the peppers in longer and put them on broil. I want to get the skin nice and charred. Now it's time to open up our garlic. I find that the fondue forks work well to get the cloves out. Our pepper skins are nicely charred, which means we have a soft interior. We'll just have to wait for these to cool. We have our caramelized onion over here. I'm going to be using half of the roasted garlic for this dip. And I'm just going to peel off the skins of our roasted red pepper. And I'm going to be using some sherry vinegar. We'll get 1 teaspoon and a 2nd teaspoon. And here's our 1 cup of pre-soaked cashews. And I'm going to be using these hot pepper rings that are soaked in oil. I'm going to use about a teaspoon of them. This other bit I'll use for something else. I'm going to add a tablespoon of nutritional yeast to our little dish here. A nice grind of black pepper. And I'll add 3 pinches of salt. Here at our food processor, we'll add our 1 cup of soaked cashews, our roasted red pepper, along with the hot pepper, our sherry vinegar, our nutritional yeast mixture, and actually I'm going to reserve a small portion of it. I'm going to reserve about a teaspoon, and we'll adjust the seasoning afterwards. See? About a teaspoon. So we'll add our roasted garlic and caramelized onion, and we're ready to blend things up. And I'm gonna add a 1/4 cup of water. There we go. So now I'm just going to give it a taste test to see how we're doing for seasoning and all of that good stuff. I would say it needs just a touch more of salt. A few pinches of salt would be good. Put this one aside. You don't want sloppy seconds. And actually, just simply mixing in this mixture would be good enough. I just didn't want to add too much to begin with because you can always add more, but you can't subtract. You can always add more, but you cannot subtract. So it's good to add a little bit at a time. And this has our mixture of our nutritional yeast, pepper, and there's salt mixed in there. So I'm just gonna sprinkle it in and stir it in. I'll just use a teaspoon that I used earlier. So I'm just going to pour it into this cute little heart-shaped dish, because why not? Fill it right up, because why not? And I'm just gonna chop up our basil for garnish. We'll just give this a quick wash and get to the next step. I'm gonna be using the rest of the roasted garlic. And I have a bunch of dill here. It's been washed and dried. And we're just going to chop it up. And I'm going to be using caper berries. They actually didn't have regular capers in the store, so I decided to just go with the caper berries. So we'll just take off the stems and we're going to chop them up. And you'll notice there's seeds inside, but they're quite delicate. Over here in our food processor, we're putting in our 1 cup of soaked cashews. And the rest of our roasted garlic and our dill. And we're adding our chopped caper berries and our juice of 1 lemon. And I'm adding in 2 tablespoons of tahini. In goes 1/2 tablespoon of nutritional yeast. And a good grinding of black pepper. And a 1/4 teaspoon of salt. And I'm just adding a 1/4 cup of water. And we'll blend it up nicely. I'm gonna add a little bit of salt. Just another 1/4 teaspoon should be fine. So for this one, I'm just gonna use a simple glass dish. And we'll scoop it in. And then we're just gonna add some dill for garnish. It's that time again. It's taste testing time. I just put a couple crackers and some celery. But you're welcome to use carrots or whatever you want to pair these dips with. This is just for the taste testing for now. So here we go, the roasted red pepper one. Delicious. I'm going to try the dill dip. Spread it on the cracker. Two very nice dips for either hosting or just enjoying it yourself. So remember, if you like this video, hit that thumbs up button, subscribe to my channel, comment below. Feel free to ask me any questions. I'll be happy to get back to you. Thank you for subscribing.